Jeremy here with another shot from the golfing curriculum. Today we're talking about the long irons and rescues, which are the same thing, just made slightly differently. Very, very important to get the address position right, as we'll see with Harry, who came for a lesson on this very topic. This is Harry's original rescue stance, perfect for a wedge, but no good at all for a long iron or a rescue. He hit the ball low and to the right, and one ball later completely transformed the stance and the shot as well. Your hands are slightly further forward, yeah, and your head a smidge back. Yeah, there we go, awesome. Look at this, great. There we go. Now, as you've just seen, Harry's problem was that he addressed his long irons with a fairly narrow stance, and the ball in the middle is great for a wedge, not so great for a long iron because it really gives the wrong angle of attack. It's very hard to square the club up as well with the ball in the middle. Much easier if we play it with a wider stance and the head more behind the ball. And the golden rule with all iron shots, ball 4 inches inside the front heel. We have a sort of staggered system. This would be a great chip shot stance with the head in front of the ball. So if I bring the wedge in, you can see this is a great chipping stance. My head is actually in front of the ball. For wedges, head's over the ball, gives us the right angle of attack, a little bit of steepness, a little bit of down. And the golden rule for this staggered system is longer shot, wider stance with the trail foot. What that also does, it brings the head progressively behind the ball. So you can't play a long iron from your wedge stance, and you can't play a wedge from your long iron stance. It simply won't work. You'll hit the ground every time because the ball's too far forward for that particular club. So I'm bringing a 6 iron as well. So this is a great routine to actually measure it out. 4 inches inside the front heel, longer shot, wider stance, and head moves progressively behind the ball. With a 4 iron or a rescue, that means that the stance looks more like the driver stance actually, and the angle of attack is a bit shallower. I'll bring that closer so you can have a proper look. And the divot is shallower. Right, so in close we can see what a disaster it's going to be if we hit down steep from this too narrow sort of wedge kind of stance with a rescue. Divot's way too deep, the shaft lean is far too much, and that does de-loft the club face to some extent, well, to completely. So a great way to hit a really low shot if you're good enough, but not the way to hit a high flying long iron shot or a rescue shot. These clubs are great because they get the ball so much more in the air than a long iron. You have to have really quite a high club head speed to hit a long iron. With the rescue, you don't. All the weight of the club is in the bottom, sends the ball up in the air. Fantastic addition to your bag instead of a long iron if you find those difficult. For that long advancement shot or to hit greens from between 180 and 200 yards. Fantastic, but you've got to get them in the air with the right address position. If you stand too narrow, ball too far back, that simply won't happen. And you'll probably find yourself moving backwards during the swing to get the ball up in the air as well. So let me show you the correct angle of attack. I won't hit the ball, but from a wider stance, head more behind the ball, you can hear how much shallower the angle of attack is. I'm still down, but I'm still hitting down, of course, but just less. We've still got to hit the ball first, we've still got to hit the ground second, but we must do it in a much more shallow way to get the elevation right. No good doing it from this stance at all. You'll be too steep and deep. So with just this one correction, Harry went from not being able to hit his rescues at all and not really knowing why to absolutely nailing them and adding a really great shot to his golfing armoury. He's still at the start of his journey, but this was a big step forward. It's also great if his driver doesn't quite work on the course and he has a replacement club to hit fairways with, albeit slightly shorter. But as you can see, he had plenty of power anyway. So here's a great example of a hole where you might think about hitting a rescue off the tee if you've got enough length. It pinches in at about 240 yards. There's a water hazard and there's trees that make it narrow at that point. If we lay back to 220 or 200, then rescue is perfect. The fairway is wider and gives us more chance. So it's not always a driver, and these things can be a super useful way to Keep the ball in play on a hole where. Oh, that was good. Spot on. Little bounce to the right. So for a long iron shot, wide stance, head behind the ball, ever such touch of shaft lean, hands opposite the inside of the front leg like they always are, and then we have a stance from which Harry was able to hit absolutely amazing shot, first ball. That was his very first go. He went from standing like he would for a wedge, again too much shaft lean, no time to square up the club, too steep an angle of attack. All his shots went low and right, and he was having a miserable time of it. And you can see from the video what a wonderful swing he had. It's just this one thing could completely scupper his chances of being good with this club. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you've enjoyed the video and found it useful. Let me know how you get on. And don't forget, there's a free ebook on my website. The link is in the description to this video. And we'll see you next time for another shot on the golfing curriculum.